so excited for you to experience Jeff, because he's just a class act and he is awesome. And again, he's one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
I walk away anytime. My husband and I went up to Cleveland
Amazing, by the way.
to see him perform, and my husband was like, wow, amazing. So one day we're gonna be seeing Jeff like in Rocket Arena or
Yeah.
big leagues, and we're gonna remember like I saw that guy at the Fisher.
That's the dream.
And I want to be at your first one.
Deal.
Like I will buy tickets.
You're on the invite list already. You
Cool.
made it.
All
From
right.
Elevate 2, you're in from this point forward.
Well, thank you. So anyways, thank you for being here. Please get excited, get pumped. You guys are going to leave here with so much knowledge and golden nuggets to take home. I promise you. So thanks for saying yes. Thanks for showing up. Get ready to get excited.
And
Go ahead.
also, Jeff, amazing guy. He came here last semester. Blew my socks off. Sorry, that was corny. I'm so sorry. But I'm super excited to have him here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was super last minute. We were supposed to have someone else, as you guys probably saw the schedule already. But he came to call and he answered it, and I would rather have this than the previous one. No, I'm just joking. But I'm super excited to have him, and just very grateful that he came in such a short notice. I think what we let you know about this Monday.
Yeah, here, life lesson number 1 for you guys, always be ready. Because opportunities will present themselves for you in life at times where you actually weren't planning on it. Always be ready to be able to maximize on the opportunity. That's what this is all about. And 2, the universe will give you what you ask for. I was on the pursuit for more opportunities to be able to speak and interact. I spoke at Shay's Sales last week, and literally, as I was just organizing that, me and Lisa linked up, and then she's like, hey, by the way, I have an opening a week from now. And so what you ask for and what you put out there is going to come to you. And then, by the way, it's going to come to you at times and in ways where you're probably not prepared. So when you're ready, you can maximize it and just simply say yes. And so that's why I'm here, and that's how I'm here today. And I think it's a great life lesson for you guys, just about what to do moving forward inside of your school and academic career, and then inside of your career moving forward as well.
See, already.
That's a preamble. You know what I'm saying? We haven't even dove in.
Already. But so next week we have NSME on Tuesday. Lisa, did you have the papers for that, Lisa?
Pardon me?
You have the papers for NSME?
Yes, I will have a sign-up sheet after the meeting. Mr. Chris Pratt is the keynote speaker. Some of you have probably heard Chris speak in your classes. Just a great guy. We want to show our love for him, so let's pack the house next Tuesday night. Guys Party Center, free dinner. Those of you that attended last month know that they do a great job there. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them after tonight's meeting, but I will have a sign-up sheet.
And sign up is over by Thursday. So just don't procrastinate too long for it.
I was going to say, AMA also put like a sign-up sheet up in their group chat as well, and I think I re-uploaded to the Fisher one, so if you want to sign up there too.
Oh.
They have like an electronic one as well that you can access on Ruby, so.
Appreciate that. And then Wednesday, we also have Entrepreneurial Women in Business. That's going to be a super huge meeting, especially for the women. I might even let it say from the meeting, who knows? But all right, just give it up for Jeff, and thank you.
Let's go. Thank you very much. So I'm a leader and a coach at heart. Okay? It's just in my soul. A leader and a coach at heart. So when I see opportunities to be able to add value or share value, I always just want to communicate it. So this has nothing to do actually with my intro or my opening or anything I had planned. But we were just talking here a second ago. Was it Josh? Jacob. I knew it was a J, and I knew I was going to get it wrong, so I already apologized ahead of time, but I knew I was going to forget his name. So I'm in the clear. It's not an awkward moment. It's actually exactly what I planned for. But at the end of the day, Jacob and I, right, we're just talking about something I wanted to share to the group. By the way, practice what you preach. Here it is, right? And so you're going to be overwhelmed in life, and you probably feel overwhelmed right now. Raise your hand if you felt overwhelmed in the last 24 hours. I definitely have, no question. And so one of the problems is we try to do too many things at once, or we try to do too many things in a short window of time. Time being our greatest asset, as we all understand. Greatest asset we all understand. The most measurable quantitative thing we have in life that is expiring every second we take a breath. As time goes by, opportunity to be able to grow or succeed or do the things that are important to us in life continue to fade. Therefore, there's an inherent level of urgency just to being alive. What we talk about is, in my experience as being a leader, I was a leader at Rocket for about 19, almost 20 years, running regions of 120 to 160 people, running teams of anywhere between 15 and 25 people. And what happens is, even grinding, 11 to 12 hours, grinding, you still don't have enough time to do what's most important. Most of the time, impact the people around you in a positive way, to leave a positive, lasting impression on those around you. Isn't that a leader's true role? Isn't that actually the definition of leadership? Leave them better than you found them, day over day, moment over moment. That is the definition of great leadership. Now there's more, but that one always stands the true test of time. And what we spoke about was, and why I was videoing and why I do certain things here, is when you learn the power of replicating moments, you will get further, faster, and become stronger. When you learn the power of replicating moments, you will get further, farther, faster, and stronger. You'll become more efficient in your growth and development, and you will no longer be punting. What I say by punting is kicking the can to the next hour, the next meeting, the next conversation, or the next day. I just don't have room for this. I still have to do these things. You're constantly reprioritizing because the day in life just is constantly in flux. It's fluid, right? Life and what we do each day is fluid. And so the thing that I really want to teach you, and once again, this has nothing to do with my intro right now, but we're just going to add value real quick because it was top of mind, and you have to know this. It could really impact your ability to be productive here over a long period of time. Let me use myself as an example. Let's say an example I gave you. I'm a director of mortgage banking. I have a sales team of 25 people, and I'm incredibly overwhelmed. I have to get over half my team to figure out how to actually help clients, write loans, and get paid. And the other half of my team, I have to be able to help be sustainable, continue to grow, and be in a position where they're incredibly efficient and effective with their time. The problem is that in a 10 or 12 hour period of time, if you're doing the math, if I have to coach calls for 4 or 5 hours, if I have to be on the phone for 2 hours, if I have to have actual interactions, coaching interactions for an hour or two, then where's the time to do the rest? And by the way, we didn't even go over the list of, I'm just going to drop, of shit that my leader just gave me of things that just have to get done. You know, just take the house clean. It's got to get done. And so that's where you become overwhelmed, because now all of a sudden my leader, he's got to stay number 1 priority, and then if I don't coach calls, we don't write loans, so now we don't produce, so that has to be number 2 priority, and then if I don't execute on things I had planned, and I just try to build my people, so there's number 3 priority, so number 4 priority ends up out the back door, I end up here till 10 o'clock at night, but then there's nobody around me at 10 o'clock at night to be able to add value to and finish half the things I have, so guess I'll get them tomorrow. Sound about right? Experience a little bit of this? You've never been in that environment, but I'm sure you have. Here's the good news. As you guys continue your career and your progression and developing your skill and opportunity in sales, you will be fully immersed in these environments sooner than you actually think. And you will be put in these positions, hopefully, sooner than you think as well. That's the goal, right? Is to be thrust into these moments where you have to react and respond, because that's how you're going to learn and grow, develop. And the Fisher, by the way, puts you in a great spot to be in those situations through your partners and the relationships you guys have, which is awesome. Here it is. Every interaction you have has to be multiplied by 3. Every single interaction of value you have must be multiplied by 3. So my multiplication right now is this moment is 1. The content that I put out on social media for the next 2 weeks from this one video is 2. And number 3 is the referrals and or the future business I gain from this continued momentum and leveraging this moment now. There's 3. And that's just the tip of it. I could probably make a list of 10 if I sat down and thought through it. Let me give you a real life example as well. As a sales director, I'm coaching you on a phone call. Phone call didn't go well. You end the call. In that moment, I have to post coach you, which means that we must capture that moment. I have to increase your skill. I must change the trajectory because you're going to get right back on the phone. And if I allow you to make that mistake 2 times in a row, that is me letting you fail and being a failure as a leader all in one moment. So I have to do it. But the problem is I have to do 10 other things as well. So most leaders will just rush through the post coach, or even worse, skip it. Powerful leaders understand the value of 3. I post coach you now, but the second layer, I bring you, and you over with me because you're not doing anything productive right now, so you're going to learn with me. So he grows and you grow. There's 2 layers. The 3rd layer is I pull the call clip and I play it to the team and we talk about it as a team. Now everybody grows. One grows, few grow, everybody grows. And all from one moment that could be 3 minutes. Now, could you imagine if you did that 10, 12, or 15 times a day? Could you imagine if you actually drew a chart on a wall on how many spiders would pop out from the original moment, and then how many would pop out from there? and how your reach and your impact would be so efficient and so impactful that you would move further and faster? If that 3x, think about your productivity and efficiency 3x, if you did that every day. And so it's simple, you ready? Any moment of value that you do something, it's either you receiving value or providing value, either one. Just write in your notebook, type in your notes, set a reminder 3 times, 3x. And then come back to it and use that as a challenge to replicate and magnify the moment and see how much faster you can grow. Free advice, no charge. Wasn't even in my notes. Had nothing to do with what we're going to talk about today, but since we talked about it, practice what you preach. Wanted you guys to know. So my name is Jeff Schmidt. Been at Rocket Works for 20 years. I like to say I'm here for not only our relationship Rocket has with Fisher, but also simply now my relationship that I have with you guys here at Fisher and sales as well, which is awesome. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm a 44-year-old guy, divorced father of 2, have an 11-year-old son, G, or Gavin, I call him Little G, and my daughter, Juliana. Obviously, everything to me, the most important things in my life right now. Nothing more important in my life as far as roles or responsibilities than being an incredible father. Nothing will ever trump what it means to be that and do that day in and day out. In fact, I've made career decisions recently to be able to be more present, more involved, and I'm making life decisions to do the same as we speak right now, to seek out the opportunity to become the very best version of myself in that role, because I understand the power of 3 fits in here too. I understand for the next 30 or 40 years, it could have great ramifications for my kids. Can we do some quick rules of engagement real fast? Cool? Yeah. Number 1, keep eating and enjoy. Cool? Number 2, if you want to use your phones, you can use your phone, type notes, use your phone's product, be productive with your phone and so on. Do whatever you have to do. Just do me the solid, do me the favor. If you don't have 45 minutes to pay attention to somebody that's trying to add value to you and you want to be on your phone instead, you can just go and I won't judge you. But just don't waste your time or mine. Cool? Fair? Sweet. All right. The other thing is if you want to, if you have any commentary, thoughts, especially for some of the guys that have been here before and heard me talk before, just say something. I would much more prefer that this feel like a conversation than it does me speaking at you for the next 45 minutes or so. Okay? And so just say something. Holler it out. You don't even need to raise your hand. This doesn't need to be formal. Just say something. I had somebody last week literally just say something right out loud when I finished kind of a section of something, and everybody laughed, and I said, no, that's phenomenal. Thank you. Keep going. Right? What else do you guys have on your minds? Because the more we interact, the more we collaborate, the more we communicate, the more this can be something of value for you guys instead of something you just simply try to take something away. You've had a lot of classroom experience. I'm not trying to replicate that, guys. I'm really not. Okay? I'm trying to replicate a conversational experience where you can add value and take it away. That's the final point, the final rule of engagement. The final rule of engagement is, here we go again. You must have 3 things that you take away from what I tell you today. And I just gave you 1 that's a layup, so you're really only searching for 2 more. You must have 3 things that you take away from this interaction today, or this time was not well spent and was a failure for you and me as well. Candidly, is my goal here is to add as much value for you as possible. 3 things. That means 3 things on your notepad, 3 things in your phone, 3 things specifically that you can do and take action on. Not think about, not a cool line that Schmitty dropped. Ooh, I like that quote, right? You just said here a moment ago, dropped a cool quote. There we go, right? Dropped a cool quote. Thank you, that's awesome. If the quote moves you, motivates you, write it down. But if you can't take action on that quote, keep looking for more. Good? Because in life, words are wonderful. Poetry is intoxicating. Presence and charisma will capture you and captivate you. But an hour or 2 from now, it'll be gone. And the only thing that's left is what you choose to take and then take action on. I can put on a show, but I'd much rather add value and help you grow. Good? You, my friend, what is your name? Keegan. Keegan? Jeff Schmidt. Good to meet you, Keegan. You are actually going to be my goal today. Are you good with that? Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks for being here. Keegan's my goal. By the end of this, I'm going to have Keegan leaning forward and engaged and asking me a question by the end of this. You guys hear that? That's my goal. I'm not going to focus on it too much. I don't want to make him uncomfortable. Maybe I already did. But that's going to be my goal here moving forward. All right, off we go. The first part is going to be interactive, okay? Thanks, Keegan. Appreciate you, man. The first part is interactive. The interactive part of this is perspective. Here's a good quote for you. You guys ready? Perspective is life's greatest asset. It truly is. Why? Why, Jeff? Why? You say it's so easy to say. Well, it's life's greatest asset because it costs you absolutely nothing. Very rarely in life does something tangibly or intangibly cost you nothing, but give a maximum return of value? Perspective has both. It costs you nothing to take a break, take a breath, to reflect and think, to meditate and consider, to do what you need to do to ensure that your mind is thinking the right way, that you understand where you are and why. It costs you nothing. You're going to be sitting there anyways. You're not spending time you wouldn't already spent. You're alive and breathing. You're spending the time regardless. But the value return on perspective is immeasurable. Help me out here, guys. Interactive part. Fisher Sales. When you say the name, when you think of the brand, and when you think of this place, this incredible space, and everything goes a part of it, give me some adjectives or descriptions that come to mind. Anywhere between 1 and 4, 1 and 5 words. Hit me.
Passionate.
Passionate. What else?
Opportunities.
Opportunities, no question. Okay, what else?
Connections.
Connections, good one.
Experiential.
Experiential, good word.
Fun.
Fun, we're happy to hear that. Lisa's the queen of fun, so I can understand how that works, right? What else? You want to be the king of fun? Is that what you're mad at me right now? Keep going. What else? Scott, any more words? Optimize, another phenomenal word. Okay.
Positive.
Positive. If it's not, you got to say something.
Growth.
Growth? You stealing words over here? Is that what's happening? Hey man, this is collaborative teamwork. There's nothing wrong with that. Work together, throw them all out, right? These are great words. And Lisa over here is feeling really good about what you guys just said, right? This is a perfect ego boost, Lisa. Thanks, guys. She deserves it, you know? All right, how about this layer? We're going to add another layer. When we think of Fisher, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, you applied to be in this school, correct? Right? Not necessarily school, but organization, right? Sales club, however you want to define it. We all know what it is. You applied to be in it, correct? Okay? Right? Yes? How many people applied? Give or take? 100? 150?
To be part of Fisher, to be part of the college. of
Both,
business.
right?
Both, yeah.
Yeah, right? Let me cut to the chase. Long story short, you made a decision and a choice. You made a conscious decision to be here and be a part of this. Not just today, which thank you for being here. Not just today, but you made a conscious choice to be a part of Fisher. And you did it for very specific reasons, some of which are things that you actually just told me or just said here a moment ago, and the words you used to describe Fisher itself. But I want you to now describe, why did you choose to invest your time, effort, and energy in this place? Give me 1 or 2 sentences. Why did you choose to use Fisher to enhance your future? What was it?
As a marketing major, I used Fisher kind of as a social challenge by adding sales as my major to
Great.
force myself to become better in the workplace.
I love it, right? And knowing you specifically, because I think I remember from last time, right? Knowing you specifically, you actually made an honest and candid choice to lean into kind of uncomfortable to shape an area where you knew you wanted to get stronger, and that would have held you back if you didn't do otherwise, where you wanted to go. So good for you. Good for you.
Somebody told me that I looked up to somebody and he's a very successful person. I was like, what do you do? Like, what is like your motto? And he was like, I just follow the blueprint, and like anybody I look up to, I just follow what they do. So he's part of Fisher, so I just follow exactly what he did.
Excellent. Yeah.
Following his footsteps.
One of the greatest things in life is just to find the people that walk the path you want to walk and just fall in line right behind them. There's no shame in that. As long as you're doing your own work and doing your own growth. It's called being smart.
I said yes. Simple answer.
That's good, right?
I'm always looking for new opportunities.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Opportunistic and open to new experiences are things that clearly will serve you well through life, not just here in college, university, or your growth in this chapter of the career. Here's why I bring it up. Why I bring these things up. Why I asked you to contribute. Why I asked you to share the words or the sentences and phrases or the meanings behind why you're here, what this place is about and what it means to you, is because it may be lost on some of you consciously of what those things are to you right now. Maybe you stopped thinking about those things. Maybe you stopped actually understanding the value you hold in your hands and simply were going through the motions or just showing up. Maybe you took it for granted. Maybe the resources and opportunities that you received, maybe the people that you're surrounded with, maybe the process that you're a part of, where, by the way, other people paved the path for you to have the chance to be on, to even walk. Maybe you stopped thinking about the reality of that situation and circumstance and how it actually impacts you and what it means to your life and where you are now and where you plan on being Because once again, those thoughts, that perspective that you should gain from this experience should drive actions. Should put you in a position where you're accountable to this brand, to this place, to these people, to who came before you, and then to ultimately your future self. Because the legacy you leave behind will matter. At some point in time, you will come back here, and you will or will not be remembered. At some point in time, somebody will come back and say, thank you for showing me the path. Thank you for impacting me while you're so highly involved. That's what Fisher is. Now, my experience in school is a little bit different. I'm not a school guy, okay? Hopefully you guys can maybe even just see that from how I interact. So there's nothing really like rigid, square book about me. I'm a genetic anomaly. You guys want to know what that means? Somebody wait, what is he talking about? You got like an 8th color, right? I'm a genetic anomaly. What that means is both my parents went to Big Ten universities. My mom went to Wisconsin. My father went to Illinois. Both got degrees. Both my parents went to U of M for grad school. They both got dual master's degrees. My sister graduated high school with a 4.25 and graduated U of M with a 4.2 in 4 years straight. I'm a genetic anomaly. My parents are academia. They're brilliant. They're smart. They do excellent in school. They get great grades. They comprehend knowledge from books and reading in classrooms. And me, I graduated high school with a 2.6. I had to go to Western Michigan, which is a great school, by the way. I had to go to Western Michigan, barely got in, then leave there and go to Oakland Community College, and then finally end up at my destination at Michigan State University. I got 3 3s and 3 4s to get into Michigan State. Go figure. When I was motivated and inspired, had a clear outcome in mind, and was on my path and journey, I performed at my best in school. When I got to Michigan State University, I left with like a 2.7 and graduated with a 2.7. I don't say that for you to judge me, to think of me, to feel proud of me, to feel anything. I really don't say that at all, but for perspective. Because what I have is no choice moving forward to change the outcome. All I have is stories and value that I can provide through what I share in my own experience. That's all I got left. You know what you have? A whole lot of time to get the most out of this opportunity. I gotta tell you, when you come back here in 5 or 10 years, are you gonna be damn proud that you maximized the opportunity? Or are you gonna be too embarrassed to walk in the door and show your face? I wonder. I gotta ask myself, will you be standing in front of people and saying, my experience shaped me and here's how I did it, and you should join here too, and be a part of this incredible place? Or are you gonna kind of run and hide and be shy from it? You gotta ask yourself, what are you going to be all right with? Because the choices you make today will lead you in the direction that will ultimately lead to the outcome. I got what I wanted. I got what I strove for. I wanted a Big Ten degree from Michigan State University to show my mom specifically, who's like an alpha female, insane, to show her specifically that I can do this, Ma. Okay, here's your degree. Here's your Big Ten degree. I got it done. Hate school, don't want to do it, didn't really enjoy the experience, barely got through. Here you go. In fact, I walked across the stage at the Breslin Center, grabbed that fake piece of paper they give you, you shake hands like a fake piece of paper. It's not a real diploma, it's just a piece of paper rolled up in a ribbon. Breaking news, sorry to burst your bubble if you guys are looking forward to that, right? And they had a diploma after. And I knew in that moment that literally a day later I was going to have to tell my mom I still have one more class to take because I failed a core class my last semester. It's embarrassing, to be honest. It really is. But I can share it with you. I can share it with you because if I knew what I knew now, that organizations existed to give me the tools to learn and be engaged, that there was actually places where I could experience what success looked like. I could be surrounded by people that understood it and taught it to me from real-world experiences that they've had and partners that come in and speak to you, that I could have an actual process and a system, that I could go travel to different cities and countries, that I could see different businesses, that I could actually follow the steps and the path that other people that were successful, that lived the life I want to live, were in place. I would have done it totally different. I just didn't have that. I wasn't made aware of it. I'm sure Michigan State had it. But nobody told me about it. Nobody brought it up to speed. And honestly, even if I knew about it, I don't know if I was in the right mind frame to even maximize it. So what do you want? You want a certification on your degree? Elisa's going to stamp for you? Just, here you go, Fisher. Congrats. You did it. You want a piece of paper that says you did it so you can show your parents and say, I did it, Mom? I'm here to tell you, I work in an organization. I've been there for 20 years. I have many people that I know that have been there for 15 plus that have built an incredible life for themselves and didn't even need a college degree. So if you do it for the piece of paper because you think it's a key card that's going to open a door for you, I have breaking news for you. The world that I was in 20 years ago didn't give a shit about it. And the world you're going to be in 20 minutes from now, damn sure does not. So now what? Now what we have is relationships. Now what we have is experience. Now what we have is immersement. Now what we have is hard skills and lessons. Now what we have is resources. Now what we have is a blueprint for the future. Now what we have is actions I can take to learn now, so when I do get hit with the real world right in the face, I have the actual tools, the tangible skills to be able to go create a life for myself. Or don't. And just frame it and put it on your wall. And hope you end up at a place that gives you the chance to do something else. Here's a good quote for you. You ready? Hopefully you like this one from the last time. What's important, this is perspective once again. What's important for us to really think about, and what I've experienced so much from whether it was the first 6 months to a year of someone's career here at Rocket, and I was bringing them on speed and onboarding them, getting them up to speed with what we need to do and so on, helping paint vision for the future, how they can build a career for themselves, or anywhere, here. The perspective of knowing the timeline and the scoreboard. Here's the quote. It's not how fast you can get to the show, step on stage, and have the lights turn on, that really matters. So often, people in life, maybe you right now, cannot wait to get out of here. Not just this room, and hopefully not. Hopefully I'm doing my best so far. But maybe now, right in this moment, you're like, got 8 months left, got a year and a half left, counting the days. Like literally we've got you locked up and you're scratching on a cement wall. You can't wait to get out of here as fast as you can. Hit the stage, turn the lights on, let's go! Real life, give it to me. You want to know what happens 9 times out of 10 for those people? They step in front of the crowd, of course, an analogy. They step in front of a crowd, the lights turn on, it's hot. Damn, those lights are bright. Stage is big. Feels weird to wear a mic. Damn, there's a lot of people out there, and they're all looking at me. And then the music starts. Oh shit. See, if you get to the show a year later, the show being a new career, a new role, an important goal in your life, a place in life or a timeline in life that you want to be, you're young. What's the race? You're in your 20s. What's the rush? What I know is that I knew when I learned it the right way, that when the stage lights went on and I had an opportunity to maximize my moments, to make that second count for my future and for the value I can provide, that I had to be ready. I needed the skills and the experience. I needed the growth and the opportunities. I needed the failure and to fall flat on my face. I needed to struggle. I needed to be humbled, and I needed to be embarrassed before I was truly prepared to step in front of an audience and have the lights turn on and showtime. Because it's not how fast you get to the show, how quick you can flip the switch to have the lights turn on. It's that you're ready to dominate when they do. Far too many people I have seen that even in that moment do pretty well, but do not have the skills or experience, did not take the time to layer on what they needed in life like a beautifully layered cake. And maybe in that moment, out of pure skill or luck, they did well or decent, and they were able to move on. But how long did that last? How sustainable is that model? If I don't eat for a week and I lose 10 pounds, I will definitely achieve the goal I have right now, which is to get rid of my dad bod. And that'll feel good. But then the second I start eating again with the same exact habits, it might have taken me a week and a half to get that. It'll take me 2 days to give it back. Trust me, I'm done. It comes quick. So who cares? Who cares if I'm, woo, got to 185, woo, if a week later I'm 195? And then if you advertise that, you become a paper champ. You lack integrity. And then when you can't follow through on it, nobody will ever follow you or trust you. Because you never proved it or sustained it. It's not how fast you get to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's about what you do to prepare yourself along the way. For whether you create the opportunity for yourself or it gets presented to you, that when that moment happens, and I just explained it to you here off camera a second ago when we were stepping aside, you might get it and not even anticipate it. You might meet somebody and say, hey, you would be a perfect fit for this. You're like, whoa, hold on. Or you may be in a career for a year, and then you meet somebody, something happens, and life changes. You know how this world works in crazy ways. When you start to put yourself out there, be prepared, add skills, develop relationships, continue to work on your craft. The world seems to just place things in front of you as you go to give you the chance to maximize your dream. And now it's on you to not only be aware enough that it's here, that it's looking me in the face, but now it's on you to actually say, I'm actually prepared and ready to maximize this moment.
Were you ever in a situation where you weren't ready to maximize the moment and it kind of fell in your face?
Oh, yeah. So speaking, no, because I've always taken this incredibly serious, to be incredibly prepared. My skill and experience was lacking in speaking, but my preparation was never, because I always took it so serious. Because truly, every single moment could define it. There could be a person in a room that changed my life tomorrow. Right? One of you guys could have an uncle that's looking for somebody to come, show up, light up a room for 30 minutes, and maybe that's the biggest break of my life. So every single opportunity I know when I speak, because it's my dream, because it's my passion, I will never not do my absolute very best. Never. However, in sales at Rocket, yeah, I fail miserably all the time. Even still to this day, it's a 20-year veteran. I've been on the phone for literally 2 decades, right? When I was taking phone calls, you guys were like before middle school. Like I was popping headsets on, talking on a telephone that was literally this big with a wire sticking out of it. Back in my day, and I was walking to work uphill with no shoes on too, the whole thing, okay? And so yeah, I would fail miserably all the time. I wouldn't write out my presentations. I'd be too embarrassed to role play or rep things out with my partner next to me. My ego and my pride was in front of my ability and my desire to be successful and grow. Think about that for a minute. I'll say it one more time. My ego and my pride was far in front of and blocking, shielding my actual desire and the necessity for me to be able to develop and grow. And it still happens today. I just made a decision. I just told you guys this a little bit ago. I just made a decision a year ago to step out of leadership and to step back into banking. Something I did when I was 24. Last time I actually was on the phones, guys, was 2006. Think about that for a hot second. It's been a minute since your boy was on the phone selling clients outside of being in a leadership role and on the phone. It's just different. That was incredibly humbling and uncomfortable. Because as a guy that literally built the Cleveland site, had impacted thousands of people, had taught sales and the process and phone calls, and jumped on phone calls and saved deals and enrolled clients and had done it all. Now I'm in this spot and I'm not good. I have no rhythm, no routine, no habits built, no hard skills that I've practiced and repped over time. And now I'm proud. I'm on a pedestal. I'm like literally on the, like the wall, like the wall of greats, from Cleveland. It's like Schmitty and like 2 other people. And so now I'm like trying to live up to the face on the wall instead of just saying like, hey, I actually have to sit down and put in work. I actually have to learn. And so I was humbled, humiliated, frustrated, angry. I went through the whole spectrum of emotions. I had to work through the ego situation. I had to work through the self-perception situation. I had to work through the situation other people were looking at my stats and probably making fun of me for not doing well as I transitioned. I had to work past all that stuff. And when it clicked is when I just actually sat down and just decided I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to listen to my own phone calls. I'm going to ask for call reviews. I'm going to rep things out. You want to know how hard it is to walk across the hall to my girlfriend, now wife, and say, hey, Dee, she's probably top 5% banker at Rocket, is a killer. You want to know how hard it is? I taught her how to bank 18 years ago. I taught her how to bank. I taught her what the job was and how to do it. Every skill she has, I could argue for me. And so you know what I had to end up doing? I had to walk into her office, sit down, and say, hey, what feedback you got for me? I got to get better. I mean, if that's not humbling and crumbling. But that's a part of it. You know? I'm a better man, I'm a better human being, I'm a better person today because I went through that and because I understand how important that was. And now, I didn't go head first into it saying this is the best way, this is the right way. You know, once again, I'm scratching and clawing, making excuses, being doubtful and so on. But there it was. Did that answer the question good for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for asking. All right, let's pivot on. Any other questions real quick, guys, before I pivot? Okay, I got something that I told you guys last time. I'll tell you guys again. I can't say this enough. I literally cannot say this enough. Based on my experience as well at Michigan State, but based on where you're at right now, one of the greatest attributes you can have, habits, one of the greatest habits and skills that you can actually build and learn right now is the ability to compete. Compete. See, if somebody would look me in the eyes with the same type of vigor and passion and spoke to me in the same way that I received when I was in college, and they showed me what it actually meant to compete in a classroom. Like, yes, that guy 2 rows in front of me has a notebook open, is taking notes, does go to every class, does show up early, does ask questions, and I for sure was judging him the entire time through college. While he would crush me, I'd roll up with a C-, my man's probably getting A's across the board. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? And so now I remind myself and I think to myself, what if I knew how to compete? What if I looked at that guy and I said, this guy is not better than me. I don't care he gets better grades than me. I can do that too. They don't have better skills than me. They damn sure don't have different resources than me. So what's the difference? And if you make the choice to compete, because I'm sure you guys know where you stack up. If you don't, maybe somebody talk to Lisa about how to measure yourselves, but I'm sure you do. If you justify being at the bottom, then you're preparing yourself to lose and accept losing for your life. Don't do it. Don't do it. Losing is a huge part of life, and we'll teach you the greatest lessons. We already know that. But if you justify why you lose, because this person has a harder work ethic, or had more resources, or got a better hand of cards, I don't care what excuse you give. It's all justification, and it suffocates your future. Competition teaches you the most important things, which is, where's your bar? How far away are you from that bar? And how do I close the gap? Because if you got all B's and you had somebody come with all A's and both interview with me for the same role, but you could verbalize how you're competitive, where you set your personal standard of performance, where you first started relative to that personal standard of performance, and then you told me and showed me how you went about improving yourself to close the gap, the steps you took to self-develop and leverage resources, and then you showed me the result, I wouldn't even take the interview with the A student. I would just hire you on the spot. Because that life skill, ladies and gentlemen, will help you in any situation you're in the future. But it begins with choosing and being committed to being competitive in the classroom. And getting your ass kicked sometimes. And learning how to deal with it. Because it's much easier to go home and make excuses. It's much easier to go home and just say, I'll get through it, than it is to actually look in the mirror and say, you're not doing enough, bro. I'll say it one more time. We'll be done with this part. It's much easier to go home, turn off the lights, watch a movie, and just forget about it. It's much easier to make excuses or justifications. It's much easier to tell yourself that somebody else has better cards to play with. It's much easier for you to make justifications of why she is taking you down. Inherently, that matters to you. They look at each other like, no, that ain't happening, Jeff. Jeff like that. What's hard is looking in the mirror, taking a breath, and admitting to yourself that you're not good enough and you're not doing enough. And when you have that talk with yourself, when you actually have that honest conversation with yourself, at first you're going to be incredibly disappointed. Incredibly disappointed that you would allow that to happen and that you've let yourself get to this place and that you've become this person. Disappointment for sure is the first thing that you're going to feel. The problem is most people stop there. The people that take the next step, put together a plan, and then take action are the people in life that flourish. Compete now. Because if you want to learn how to compete, when your living is on the line, when you actually need to earn enough to pay your bills and support people in your life, if you plan on learning how to actually compete and grow then, when everything is on the line, your life, your ability to live a quality of life, to have a space to live and feed yourself, we're talking about real stuff here. In those moments where the actual core things you need to live are on the line and it's you having to provide them, then you want to learn? That's the moment you feel like you should figure out what it means to compete and grow? Yeah. Not going to happen. And I've seen so many people walk away. I've seen so many people, hundreds, in that moment, fold up the tent and go find another place to pack up. All right, here's a popular one. Might have done this one last time. Right now, in your life, family, friends, called its professional circle, you're going to need to sit down, assess your situation, and fire half your friends. Right now. You have goals in life to climb Mount Everest, the apex moment of your life, the top goal in your life. You have goals and thoughts, you have movement in your body and soul that says, I want to achieve greatness. And your definition is your definition. Mine is different than yours is different than his, doesn't matter. That's inherently what you desire, what you want to seek and go after. Phenomenal. Step one. Here's the challenge. Here's the problem. The challenge and the problem is you want to climb Everest and you want to carry 5 people on your back with you. Here's the challenge, is while you're climbing the mountain and dreaming about the apex, you're going to fall down. And when you fall down, half the cats you got behind you laugh at you while you're laying on the ground. And when you try to get back up, they push you down and laugh again. Then you keep going up the mountain, you finally get past those cats. You're like, man, thank God they're gone. That was tough. Glad I made it through those cats. Now you get to the next level, and what happens now? Now you got guys who say, this is too hard. Why are we even here? This is crazy. Why are we even doing this? I ain't trying to die. Whole time they're saying negative stuff. Yo, you turn aside, yo, my man, I'm trying to climb to the top of the mountain. I can barely breathe. I got oxygen strapped to my face. I'm wearing 6 layers of stuff, and there's a polar bear rounding the corner. And you want to tell me that things are hard right now? Because why? You like reporting the news? I'm going to know about weather patterns here in a little bit. You got updates from CNN? 15,000 feet up? How about you say, hey, we're doing it. We're doing it. You're doing great. It's an important exercise to do in life. It's hard, man. It is hard. Because in high school, it was your identity. It's actually what you believe you were tied to. Like your self-worth, self-value, and social quotient was tied to your number of friends and the circles that you were in. It's just where it is, what it is. It's not a bad thing, it's what it was. That hasn't dissipated yet. It hasn't gone away. You still have that thought process right now. And you want to know who's the sneakiest cats? You want to know who's the ones that really trip you up when you don't even see it coming? Who do you think? Who do you think?
Your best friend?
That's 1B is your best friend.
Boyfriend or girlfriend.
Significant others is 1C. Who's 1A?
Parents?
Your mom. Your dad. My mother, so my first year at Rocket, I made $38,000. I don't know one person right now that would keep a job for a year working 60 hours a week and weekends, making $38,000 in today's market. I really don't. Inflated up to 45 or 50 if you want, still don't know anybody. I really don't. And the whole time I'm doing it, working till 9, 10 o'clock at night, working Saturdays, working evenings, grinding. To prove to myself that I can do it. To build something for myself. To prove to my family that I can do it. The whole time I'm doing it, I'm getting phone calls every few days from my mom. What's she saying?
Why are you doing it?
What's she concerned about?
You need to sleep, honey.
What else?
I don't think you can do it. You should really take a break.
What else?
Is this really worth your time?
What else? I don't like you working those late hours, working so much. What else?
Financially.
What if you stay too late? Is it even safe?
Financially.
Good one. What do you mean? Great one.
Like, if you're making enough money.
You're not even really making money. You told me what you made last month. You didn't even get a commission check. What are you doing? Working for free? People are laughing and smiling because you're like, oh man, I just had a conversation like a week ago, I think. You know who's going to sandbag you the worst? Your mom and dad. And it's okay. I'm not saying your mom and dad are bad people. It's the exact opposite. The only reason they do it to you is because as a father, I can tell you right now, my number one thing that I am responsible for in this life is what?
It's the kids, yeah.
The preservation of my children, correct? To protect my children from failure, pain, discomfort, or being hurt in some manner or facet. It's like my number one. That's instinctual. We're talking like 2,000-3,000 years, right? I'm protecting them from like cougars and cliffs, right? Because we're walking around as cavemen. That's where it comes from, though. To further the species. It's okay if you don't agree with me. This is true. And so inside of me, as a parent, I am actually telling you that I don't want you to fail. I hate seeing you work so hard and struggle. When you come home and say, I had a terrible week at work, I tell you to quit. Don't put yourself through that pain, honey. As my father said, I'm disappointed. You could probably do better. Maybe sales wasn't your thing. I don't know about this Quicken Loans place. Seems like we're doing okay so far. So you actually have to sit down. This is like a very uncomfortable situation. You have to sit down. Do it tonight. This could be one of your action items. You have to sit down and you have to write a list of your closest friends, of the people and acquaintances you actually interact with the most frequently, if they're not part of your closest friends, and of your family and your parents. And you actually have to assess, put a negative, put a positive, or put like maybe an equal sign. A negative is they're bringing you down more than they're bringing you up. A positive is they're bringing you up. And an equal sign is they're just kind of like a push. But we're going to stay tuned and keep an eye on it. It's uncomfortable. Because you put a negative sign next to your mother, you're going to have to make some hard choices or maybe have some hard conversation. But you're a grown-ass person right now, heads up. So it's probably about time. At some point in time, very soon, when you're going through the throes of your own life, of trying to create something for yourself, a career, a living, a future, the only thing that you can have that surrounds you is somebody that looks at you and tells you the truth. Not to hold you back, not to prove you wrong, but to erase any excuses that you're making or any reasons why you won't keep chasing the dream. What you need is a cheerleader, somebody that pushes you and challenges you, somebody that believes in you. What you need is an ally and a resource. What you need is somebody that's going to run with you. What you need is somebody that's doing better than you, that's ahead of you, that's got more figured out. And that right now, since you're so focused on ego and perception, you're probably mad at them and don't spend time with them because they make you feel uncomfortable because they're doing better than you. So I'm just going to stay away there because, that's like a whole thing. Whole uncomfortable thing. I would do the exact opposite. I call them up and be like, yo, you got some things figured out. You're at a level I'm not at, but I want to get there. Can we break right here in a little bit? I can ask you some questions. Clearly, you're doing some things I'm not, and I need to bridge the gap. Thank you, friend. At some point in time, though, you've got to fire half your friends and let them go. See, relationships are all about equity. Relationships are about equity. In every relationship you have in your life, it is equitable. One person or another is either inputting equity, effort, time, energy, belief, filling you up, adding to your quotient, or somebody is making a withdrawal, bro. So when you sit down and you actually think about these relationships you got, how often have you been on the phone, once again, don't matter, mom, dad, family, friend, whatever it may be, and you feel better, you feel inspired, you feel moved, you feel emotional. How often are they making you a better human being after each interaction? And how often do you exchange said situation? So it's an equal balance. Or how often are you talking to cats that one, all you do is talk about either extracurriculars, drinking and others, things, opposite sexes and or those types of relationships, sports, weather, I mean, anything you want to put on surface level conversations and interactions, put on there. And then ask yourself, how often am I having these interactions with people that I believe are in my core and that I'm actually prepared to take with me to the next levels of life as I ascend? And really think to yourself, do they add value? When I talk to my best friend on the phone, I might talk once every 2 to 3 weeks. That guy's busy. He's got 3 daughters, runs a business, and has a wife. He's busy. I talk to him once every 3 weeks, and every time I hang up the phone, I'm either mad at him because he told me some shit I needed to hear, I'm either happy with him and in love with him because he's a supportive friend and he's always there for me, or I feel moved because I'm grateful to have a friend that as a grown-ass man, I tell him I love you when I hang up the phone. What are you working with? Here's the beauty. The beauty is you got time. You have tons of time. Like, you don't have to just straight cut people right now and go, although you could. You can nurture relationships. You could develop relationships. You can measure relationships over time to see. You have a lot of choices here, but you got to make the right ones. Because when you're grinding 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and you don't see your friend for 3 weeks that you used to chill with and party with 3 times a week, and they start telling you bad things or dissuading you from making choices like being healthy, working out, studying, practicing your craft, you'd rather go in the basement and rep sales calls so in the morning you can be prepared and then go out and watch a game on TV, and they're telling you you're the fool. I'm here telling you I think it's clear who the fool is, and we don't need to talk further. Be a young adult and enjoy your life. Just be smart in your intentions on where you're going to go and how you plan on getting there. And even more importantly, be smart on who you're taking with you. Lisa, that's about an hour. I can do a 5-minute one, or we can close for questions. You tell me.
Keep going.
Okay.
I'd say 5-minute one.
Okay. This is a good one, too. I don't know if I did it for you guys last time. Another good one for you guys. All right, here we go. But it's so hard. I mean, it's like challenging. Everybody's counting on me. Everybody looks at me and watches me. But no, it's like I'm under pressure all day long. And I'm responsible for their well-being. And if they don't get paid, it's probably because of me. And if they leave the company, it's probably because of me. And all the calls and all the conversations I'm in with SVPs and other people in the company talk about metrics and expectations and driving results. And now I have to get back and create plans and put together things and execute and work hard and then just try to be a human being at the same time. Whew. Man, it's just a lot of pressure, though. Damn, how's there so much pressure? I feel like I'm trying to take a breath in here, you know? And then I turn this way, it's more, and I turn that way, it's more. It's just pressure, pressure, pressure. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. If I had my DJ with me, this is where we come in right now. Please, sir. Pressure is a privilege. And I'm grateful to have it. The next time you start to complain to yourself or say some of the things that I just said, any variance of what I just talked about, the stress, pressures, expectations, standards, or accountability, normally the uncomfortable things that come with being in a relationship or a role. Next time you start to overtly or explicitly complain about said things, internally or externally, I'd like you to do something real fast. I'd like you to pause, and I'd like you to think. And usually, 9 out of 10 times, the vast majority of the time, the response that I will give you and then you can give to yourself is quite profound. And that response is, you asked to be in this position. You worked for months and years of your life to be here. 6 months ago, you would have begged to have this role. If I told you 3 years ago you'd be out where you're today, you would have cried and been grateful. You sacrificed time, effort, and energy to make the reality of that moment that you were in where you felt that pressure and no longer wanted those standards or expectations, do not allow yourself to crack and fail in those moments. You asked to be there. You worked your ass off to be in that spot. What I describe to you is like being an RVP. I'm a regional vice president, maybe one of the largest sales companies in the country. I am responsible for 140 people and 10 leaders. I have 2 different sets of phone calls. A phone call with my site leader and a phone call with the SVP above that. And all of those are about expectations and where we have to get better and how I'm going to grow. I have to put together business plans and business models. And then I already described what my day kind of was in some ways or another throughout this conversation so far today. Plus more that we haven't even gotten to, times 1,000. And by the way, I got 2 kids, and I'm divorced, and I'm trying to have a relationship, and I'm trying to live my life. And sometimes I like to chill. You like to chill, I like to chill. Sometimes your boy is a straight chiller. I love it. When there's an opportunity to shut it down and live in the moment. What I am concerned about, though, and what I had to tell myself often, is I worked my ass off for 15 years to become a VP at this company, and now I'm going to complain because there's pressure to perform to the standard for which I wanted to rise to and be a part of. I want to complain that people all around me look at me and count on me for their well-being and livelihood, and I want to complain about that. I want to complain that I actually have the blessing and privilege to be able to impact, coach, teach, and change people for a living, but yet I prefer to focus on the fact that it's hard and challenging, and I'm going to need to actually take a breath. There's a woman named Billie Jean King. Raise your hand if you know her. Okay, good. All right, fantastic. Who is Billie Jean King?
Tennis champion.
Yeah. What's she famous for? A couple things, but.
So there was a battle in the 1980s where she had to go up against. Was he the best in the world at the time?
No, but close. He was good.
Close.
He was good.
He was a really strong tennis player.
Yeah.
He said no female tennis player could beat me.
Yeah.
She did.
It's called the Battle of the Sexes. It was actually on TV. And this was back in the day when being on TV was like a big deal, you know what I'm saying? So that TV set was a box. You guys see it in museums now these days. I actually watched it. It was like a box, you know? And so Billie Jean King, she's getting ready for this event. She's playing up. And you know what was happening at that point in time, which is absolutely mind-blowing, is this tennis match was actually going to dictate the narrative for men's and women's rights in the future. Literally, people were saying, if she can't beat this man, see, proves women can't do the same. This was literally the narrative. How absurd, by the way, life is at times, and it always has been, right? An absurd situation, a tennis match, and they're going to decide. Beyond absurd. Especially in today's rational thinking, although not a lot of rational stuff happens these days, but in vacuums of rational thinking today. We look at that, and we say to ourselves, that is the most crazy, insane thing ever that we talk about that, right? And so she's sitting at a press conference, and I'll paraphrase a little bit, because I don't necessarily know exactly, but she's sitting at a press conference. She's sitting down and people are grilling her because this is worldwide, guys. She was doing it in this huge, in I think the Houston Superdome or whatever. But it was worldwide, across the globe, over the pond, on TV everywhere. Biggest event. Because I believe the gentleman was an English tennis player, possibly. And somebody asked a question, a reporter asked a question, Miss King, Miss King, Miss King, yes, yes, yes. Miss King, Miss King, yes, yes, yes. The whole world is watching. In women's rights movements, they're putting you at the forefront of this, saying that you are going to be the reason why we finally turn the corner. Isn't that a lot of pressure? It's a good question, by the way. Legitimate question. And her response is now a plaque on the wall in New York City at the U.S. Open. Look it up. And something to the sort says, pressure is a privilege, and I'm grateful to have it. To be in a position to have influence and impact, and to be able to be somebody that can create positive change. I'm proud to be in this position, and I'm excited about the future. Now, if that's not a beautiful example of what it means to have the right perspective, she didn't necessarily choose to be in that spot, but she earned it from being one of the most talented people alive, and she embraced it. She used it as a platform to create a legacy and a legend that'll never fade. So next time you're in a spot and you're saying, Lisa's telling me I got 10 things due. I got 5% professors saying I got this thing. I got cheer practice, then I got to run over to the building. I might be late. Holy cow, holy cow, oh. You do like one of those? The freak out moment, right? The room starts going round, 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 right? You guys know what I'm talking about. I need you to pause and first of all breathe. It's gonna be all right. And number two, I need you to remind yourself that you asked for this. Nobody forced you to be on the cheer team. You chose. You worked hard. You trained for it. You probably had to try out to be there. Don't you come over here and tell me that you're a little upset. That's a little challenging. No, thank you. Pressure's a privilege. Embrace the privilege. Be grateful for that. I thank you guys for the time. This is my dream. I could do this for hours. I could literally do this for 3-4 hours. So for me, this is like the greatest thing. Just to be able to be here, be myself, be authentic, communicate in the way I can, share my experiences, share the things that I learned, share the stories that I tell. And once again, have you guys walk away with 3 key specific things that you can take action on moving forward, and that you can implement into your life, into your future, to help you really get the very most out of where you are today and where you're going in the future. And at any point in time you guys want to reach out, please let me know. I do have shameless self-promotion. I got business cards right here. Grab some business cards. As my wife would tell me, make sure you guys follow me on social. Make sure you share and like all the good things. I feel awkward saying it always. Self-promoting is not my biggest thing, but I would love to have your support as I chase my dream and you chase yours. All at the same time, we're going to support each other through the entire journey and root each other on through the whole journey as we go. So thank you again for the opportunity, Lisa and everybody else. And I'll take questions here.
Questions, you guys, don't be shy.
Could be anything, by the way. Life, business, anything you got.
So, I'm just curious, when it comes to like, when you're going after these dreams or these like long-term goals, what are some ways that you keep yourself motivated when you're not really like getting any rewards or other things that reward you for achieving?
External gratification or external drivers are they're like cancerous. So I'd first of all try to remove as many external rewards and drivers as you can inside of your life. Like if you're doing things for perception or reward or a certificate or a trophy, external, they're good, but they're like the bottom, lowest level of motivation. They come and go, they're fleeting. So I just actually saw something on social today. I'm sure you've heard the term before, but micro actions and micro victories is what I really have found. Build momentum through micro actions and build confidence. Because that's really what we're seeking is, do you understand that the biggest, and I struggle with this right now, I'm trying to chase the dream because there's so much happening, but it's just a justification, is the confidence and belief that gets built from personal integrity is the most powerful thing that you can have. Do you understand that if you say you're going to do something, and then you put together a process to do it, and you don't do it, first of all, it's crippling. Crippling. So I would not do that. Because it's hard to get yourself up and do that often. Okay? But secondarily, what happens? Let's focus on the positive then. What happens when you actually have a goal in mind, you create micro actions, 20 things you need to do in the next 20 weeks, and then you do 15 of those in a row. How are you feeling week 15? The answer is fantastic. Because you've seen progress, you've seen growth, you've executed. And you feel so good about the fact that when you self-assess your commitment that you made to yourself, your self-integrity is through the roof. And what you're teaching yourself is that you are capable and you shall. That if you set a plan and set your mind to something, and then you focus on consistency of execution, you'll build such a strong core of belief that you can do anything. That you'll actually take on and step into the storm willingly when you're able to build yourself in that way. So hopefully that's a good example for you right there. I think growth is intoxicating. I really do. I think if I use a sales line and then I apply it on the phone and then I write that client's phone by using that sales line, I am feeling like $1,000. And then I'm like, yo, what's the next sales line? Right? Because I'm like, shit, if I can do it like that and then enroll a client, what if I learn another one? And then what if I learn 5 more? Can I write 6 more ones than I would have written before? And then you start looking at your earning potential over 6 or 8 months when you do that. You're like, okay, let's do this. And that's fun. For me, that's fun. Gamify it a little bit. Go ahead.
Knowing what you know now, when would you have changed it? When would you have, when you, as soon as you got to college, I mean, obviously we're on college now, so we can all change it now, but like, would you have changed it when you first started your career, or as soon as you got to college, or?
I think honestly, I wish I would have gotten, if I could hedge my bet, I'm going to tell you high school. Right? I'm going to tell you, I wish somebody would have grabbed me. I did have some mentors in high school, but they kind of just kept me like on the right path and not on a really bad path. I was straight to at times. Okay? And so I did have them, and I'm grateful for them. but I never put myself really in a position where I understood just the core philosophies that I went over with you. You know, I was competitive, but in athletics, and like physical competitiveness is great, and it teaches you about what it means to compete, and it teaches you about what it means to like, you know, go against people that are better than you and so on, and how to be crafty, and how to learn, how to grow. Those are good things, but at the end of the day, your physicality in life is insignificant. It's significant for your health and your well-being, and over time, sustainability of life, but it's not significant for anything else. So I would say I wish somebody like in senior year of high school would have brought me into college classes and would have introduced me to college professors and would have given me like a mentor that would have like helped me bridge the gap to really understand what is this college thing and how can I get more out of it, right? Which is ironically what I'm conveying to you today as best as I can. Good? Thank you. Yeah.
I was curious to know what was the lowest point of your life and what are some of the actions and steps that you take?
Yeah, man, that's an awesome question. I will tell you that I'm a very honest and vulnerable person. I will tell you that I had battled depression and suicidal thoughts in high school and going into the beginning of college. I will tell you that it runs in my family. I've seen my mother be in a place where she never left her room for 6 or 8 months. I will tell you that my sister's been juvenile diabetic since she was 4, and I've seen her rushed out of the house or hotel rooms and ambulances more times than I can count. I tell you the things that happened in my life, I think probably happened in yours, that have scarred me for my life and will continue to shape me consciously and subconsciously. I will tell you that being at the top of the world in my career and failing miserably at being a husband, and to an extent a father, although I always have pride myself in trying to be the best that I can, but getting divorced, losing my dream house, losing the chance to be with my children every single day. There's a moment in my life that I describe, and actually one of my things, you can go on my YouTube and watch my sailing with my dad. It's called Smooth Seas, Never Been a Skilled Sailor. And I tell the story about sailing with my dad to the Virgin Islands. And at the end of it, I tell the story about this moment. And I describe it as like the last scene of Fresh Prince. You guys ever seen the last show of Fresh Prince?
Yeah.
Some of you guys, some of you don't. What's that?
Talking about that.
No, the last scene of Fresh Prince, they move out of the house. And so like the last 7 minutes of Fresh Prince, pretty cool, you guys should look at it. It's pretty sweet. Like Will Smith is standing in an empty house. And while he stands in an empty house, and the whole episode is him just reminiscing. And so it's like throwbacks from all the episodes and from each room and each situation, and all the highlights of everything that happened over the years. It's very powerful. And then the episode ends and he's literally standing there with nothing in the house. Nothing on the floors, no furniture, nothing on the walls. It is vacant. And he like takes a breath and walks out. It's very powerful. Especially for somebody that watched the show for so long. It was very powerful. And what I would tell you is I had that same profound moment. I literally can remember in my mind sitting in a 3,500 square foot dream home, thinking that I had literally hit the apex of my life, and I was by myself. My kids were gone, their rooms were empty, my wife had left me, and I was in a house by myself. I had no furniture, I had nothing. I had one TV and one couch, and that was it. I had a bed to sleep on. And the story I tell is that I used to go to sleep and wake up in my master bedroom in my bed with just a bracket on the wall in front where the TV used to be. And it pissed me off so bad because every day I would wake up, the first thing I would see is the life I used to have. An empty bracket with a TV that wasn't there. And every day I would go to sleep, the last vision I had was an empty fucking bracket with nothing there. And it would just pound in my head about what I lost. And so I literally went out and I grabbed the picture that made me think of my father and the lessons I learned from my father. And the picture, you've probably seen it, but it's like a boat going up a tidal wave. It says, "Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor." And I put it right in the middle of the bracket. And so that every day I woke up, that was the first thing I saw, was just bring on the waves. Let's go. This is either going to shake me or break me, and I choose shake today. And every day I go to sleep, I think the same thing. And that was a very dark moment in my life, man. It was a very, very dark moment. To sit in your home by yourself with nothing going on, with no family, no kids, all relationships broken, all the relationships in life, when you get frayed in a marriage, like a lot of friends had left then, because friends go through divorce, some people get some people get the other. And I was just by myself, literally and figuratively. And I was in a deep, dark place, like a really, really dark spot. Some other things happened at that point in time too, which is life piles on. And I would have a mantra to myself, like, I would say it to my leader at that time. I would walk in his office and go, even though I stand in the darkness and rain today, even though I feel the cold rain pouring on my head and feel the chills from the coldness and the darkness outside, I stand here and I know that one day I shall step into the sun. One day I shall step into the light. One day I shall feel the warm rays on my face. I shall look up and I should see the blue skies above me, feel the sun, and I shall smile in that moment to know that I made it. And I've arrived. And I would say it 3, 4, 5 times a week. Just because I knew I was in the middle of hell. But I had to continue to convince myself to keep going. And I had to continue to remind myself that this is going to break me or it's going to shape me, and I have to choose literally every hour and every day. And then I had to have imagery in my mind to know, like, just keep going. Like, it's right out there. Like, before you know it, you'll step into it, and then everything will turn and end up happening. I can go so much deeper. Hopefully, this is a good answer for you. Life is wild, man. Life is wild. Wow, I just watched a grown man die in front of my face for the last 6 months. I could give that to you. My wife's father, terminal cancer, hospice, and I would literally 3 times a week go to his house, and I would literally watch the man fade away. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I'd watch him fade into nothing. And to be a part of that experience was easily some of the most life-changing memories and moments in my life. And not even close. To like see death, experience death, talk to death, and then smell death. And have to pick up a grown man that used to bear hug me and welcome me into his home to help him get washed, and then to watch him go away. And then to have your partner who you love unconditionally, watch them go through that experience and know that all you can do is support them, but you really can't take that out of them. Like, I wanted that pain instead of her, and you can't do that. You know? And then to have all of those things happening at the same time, along with everything else in life, that was incredible too. I mean, that's still to this day, shaped me very much so. Go ahead, what else you got, please?
What's your biggest supporter in the room?
I don't know if I can answer that question, man. I had a teacher in high school, Rick Jones, who, my life was so wild. So the schools I went to, my mom was an administrator in the school district, so literally every single person that I saw knew who I was and knew who my mom was. So literally everywhere I went, I had like a scarlet letter, you know what I'm saying? And then anything I did bad, she would know before I got home. But I had this guy, Rick Jones, who was my English teacher, and then ended up being my freshman football coach. He always was kind of like a light to me. He was always like somebody that believed in me, saw my promise, like spoke to me in a way I like to communicate with. I think he shaped me early on. I think that's what's missing in my life. A lot of people ask me, like, who's your mentors? And so I really don't have like a list of, like these people mentored me, and that's probably my fault. I never put myself in a position to go find those people or link up with those people. I do now, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, don't feel bad for me. I lived an incredible life. Both my parents worked, made a good living, upper middle class family, lived in a great suburb. So I lived a great life, right? I had a nanny, taking care of me. But the life circumstances dictate different things, right? Would I like my parents to be there all the time, to interact with me? Would I have been different because of that? Maybe, but should I have regret? I don't know. I would say my parents were very supportive, but I had an interesting relationship with my parents. I think I spent probably between age 13 and age 21 or 22, every day with my parents I spent just adding bricks to the wall between us instead of actually finding a pathway. And so I think I spent a lot of time in my life compartmentalizing and building walls instead of putting my energy towards finding connections or finding commonalities. And it's interesting because now in hindsight, I have a lot of connections in common. And my mom's texting me about taking my son to the Michigan game over the weekend. And, she just hooked me up with tickets through a friend of a friend. And we're talking about life experiences. And then my dad, we're talking about other things. So now I have these connections as an adult. It's easier now since we have these things in common in our age. But really, I don't think. I think in life, what you seek, you find. And so if you identify what it is that you seek, like you identify a mentor or a guide, who is that person? What role do they hold? What characteristics do they have? And how would one go about connecting with said individual? I think if you ask yourself those questions and define those things, you find out very quickly that you can have that person step into your life sooner than you thought. And in this world, by the way, like mentors, you don't really, like Eric Thomas was a mentor for me for a little while. Like somebody I know, somebody that texts me still to this day. He's somebody he mentors me from afar now. And so I just from watching him, and what he does, and how he approaches his business and things, mentors me in some ways. Hopefully that answers your question pretty well. Good, anything else? All right, you guys, I got everything out of you guys I could possibly get. You guys are tired, it's late. It's a little bit hot in here too, so I understand. And so thank you guys again, once again, for the opportunity to be able to speak with you.
Mind if we get a picture real quick?
I would love to, man. I absolutely love it. Very much so. Make sure you guys finish the pizza on the way out. Lisa's not trying to eat that.